The OKC Thunder might actually be the NBA champions this year. They're up 2-0 against the Minnesota Timberwolves in the Western Conference Finals, and it looks like they might be the ones lifting up that Larry O.B. here in just a few weeks. They are the best team in the NBA. They have been all season long. There are so many reasons to love this team, mostly their defense. They are the best team. So, if that's all true, why are they also the most hated team in the NBA right now?
I feel like every group chat I'm in, everything I see on social is like anti-OKC. But why?
I think there's a few reasons why there's so much hate for this team. Let's start off with the most obvious one. They are too good and too young. There is something within us as people that when we see a great team, we want them to lose. It's what we see on the internet every single day, not just even with sports, but with everything. If something is good and popular, people are going to hate on it for whatever reason. There's just something within us as people that we like to trash on something that is popular. And I think that's part of what's feeding into this OKC hate. But there's also the fact that they are young. All season long, there have been commentators who have been saying that this team is too young, too inexperienced to win a championship, including maybe me. There are 3 reasons why I think OKC will not win a championship this year. The first being their roster. While it is extremely talented and young, it's also too young.
You were wrong. Wrong. Finger guns. Wrong, and you're winning.
There's still a chance I might be right, but it's looking more and more like I'm going to be wrong about this, like so many others, because I think that there's a little bit of jealousy, even from myself, looking at this team and what they've been able to accomplish this year, and looking at just how easy it seemed. I think that there's something also within us that we just don't like that. We want teams that are going to overcome, and it doesn't really feel like OKC has overcome a lot. Apart from SGA and maybe Alex Caruso, if you look at this squad, they haven't really been through the ringer. And I think a lot of people are looking at their own teams, whoever they root for, and saying like, hey, we've been through hardships. We've had to battle things. We've had a bunch of losing seasons. And then you look at the OKC Thunder and how good they are and how many picks they've gotten. And with the add-ons like Caruso, just like, how can he guard Jokic? He's been so good in this postseason. Like, you look at that and you just go, I don't like it. And I think a lot of NBA fans are right there, just looking at the popularity and also looking at the ease that it seemed like and just being like, I'm not going to root for this team. Now, is that the most fair reason to hate on this team? Probably not. But there is another reason. Let's talk about how SGA has been called
The free throw merchant.
Now, obviously, SGA is a super talented player. There's a reason why OKC wanted him so bad from the Clippers, and he has been proving that he is excellent for the last few years. But this year has been a little bit different because they've been so good. There have been more eyeballs on this team and more eyeballs on SGA. And that's only grown over the last few weeks. So more people have been paying attention to SGA's play, and they've noticed that he draws a lot of fouls. Now, every MVP candidate draws a lot of fouls. Like, you're going to have OKC fans. If you start talking about this idea of a foul merchant, you're going to have OKC fans coming at your throat about all different kinds of stats of different MVPs. And actually, SGA actually shoots a little bit less free throws. And it's really about the rate of attack at the rim and, all that kind of stuff. But my response, and a lot of people's responses, have been, does it look like this? It's more than a little over the top. Now, it is definitely a skill. Even Trey Murphy went on a podcast and talked about that this week, that it's a skill and that he doesn't necessarily think the SGA is flopping, but maybe he's just taking advantage of a rule, kind of like James Harden.
For you, when it comes to this conversation around Shea right now, do you see, is your philosophy, okay, this is foul baiting, or is your philosophy, this is a skill that you use to score points and play the game?
I mean, it's a part of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't blame him for what is in the game. Like, if the NBA was like, all right, you can't do this, then it's like, it's different. But like, it's almost like with James Harden. Like, he's almost like exploiting a rule to an extent, but you still have to be skilled enough to do it. But also, too, like, dudes be fouling him, too, though. Like, I'm not going to act like he's not getting fouled.
Yeah, Shea's not flopping.
To an extent.
So while drawing fouls is definitely a skill, and it's something that SGA has become very good at doing, and it's part of the game, I feel like this hate is actually kind of deserved. He kind of deserves it. I mean, look at these pictures, okay? This is way too much. You shouldn't have to look like that. Just shoot your shot and make the shot. And if you get fouled, you get fouled. And there is something about tricking defenders into getting that foul so you can get at the line and have a high percentage shot. But you shouldn't have to look like this in order to do it. Now, another reason why OKC gets so much hate, I think, is because of the franchise in a couple different ways. One, it's because the OKC fans, well, they're a little entitled. I'm sorry for saying it. If you're an OKC fan, don't hate me right away. Just hear this out. You guys have been good for a very long time. You've had 17 seasons since they moved from Seattle there in OKC. And out of those 17 seasons, you've only had 4 losing seasons. That means that you have experienced a lot of success. Actually, your winning percentage is 58.6%. So that's a lot of winning. And I think that builds up just like a sense of pride in your franchise that I'm not saying isn't deserved, but it does come off the wrong way to other fans who have been through, like trying to get that number 1 pick for the 8th season straight, like just at the bottom of the cellar. We don't have a Sam Presti who's just making the most brilliant GM decisions of all time. We're just trying to get like that number 3 pick and move up a little bit higher in the draft. And maybe that player can change things for our organizations. I think a lot of teams have been through that. But if you haven't, you're probably going to come off as a little obnoxious. I'm not saying other fans aren't, but other fans have been through the ringer a little bit. So there's maybe a little bit of hey, we've been there, we've sucked too. And while OKC has had some bad seasons, like the one immediately after getting to Oklahoma City, that was pretty bad, but they've been really good for a very long time with extremely talented players. And I think that means that a lot of people in the NBA just aren't going to like you and aren't going to listen to your arguments. But maybe that's just the price of success.
Don't hate the player, hate the game, son.
Another reason is that there's just not that many OKC fans. So it feels like there's a disparity because you don't have as many people defending OKC. This is a new franchise, only 17 seasons in a small market. So you're not having those legacy fans who have been fans of this thing for 40 years. My grandpa was a New York Knicks fan, so I'm a Knicks fan, even though I live in the middle of Iowa. You don't have that. You have a small market with only a few limited fans. And sure, Kevin Durant grew that fan base, but there hasn't been that much success as far as being in front of the media, even though the winning percentages have been good, but you haven't won a championship before. And if that happens this year, you'll see there'll be a lot of new fans that hop onto the bandwagon. But right now, the fan base is just a little bit smaller than everyone else's. And that's why you see that the ratings have been so low for this Western Conference Finals. There's no shame in that. It's just part of the thing. So when you look at the hate, contrast that to the amount of hate that maybe the New York Knicks get, and there's probably a lot less hate out there, but there's also less people rooting for these teams and being proud of these teams and being vocal about their support. Even though those people are hecka loud online, there's less of them. So I think that's part of it, just kind of a perspective thing of being well, they are so new, so they don't have as many fans. I think in time, you'll probably see that decrease unless Seattle doesn't get a team. And this gets me into the last one. And if you're an OKC fan, you're turning off the video, you're hitting the dislike, that's fine.
Oh, here we go again.
As a Seattle boy, I got to represent. I am always going to hate OKC because they stole my team. Everyone in the Pacific Northwest, you're not going to find OKC fans. Even though Kevin Durant was drafted by the Sonics, you're not going to see a bunch of Kevin Durant jerseys. You're going to see Gary Payton jerseys, Sean Kemp jerseys, Detlef Schrempf jerseys, Nate McMillan jerseys. You're going to see Downtown Freddie Brown jerseys, but you're not going to see that much Durant because they stole our team. And that will always have hate. And there's a lot of people who saw it. Even people within Oklahoma, they looked at how they got the team. And yes, they're happy to have a team, but they don't like how it happened. That resulted in a lot of different people from all different franchises rooting for their own teams, looking at what happened to Seattle and going I'm not going to like this. I'm not going to root for these teams. That is something that is still buried underneath all of this hate in OKC. Is it the main thing? Probably not. But I do think that there's a large percentage, definitely in the Pacific Northwest, of people who will never root for the OKC Thunder, never be happy to see them win, want to root against them, wanted so bad for Jokic to end this thing and just make it so that we could have a fun NBA Finals and not be stressed out about OKC winning and hearing that this is the second championship and all that. And that's just not going to change. There's no rationality to that. There's no way you can convince me. It is an emotional thing. It is my childhood that was ripped from me, like literally sitting on the floor watching the Sonics, listening to Kevin Calabro voice it over on Kong 16. Like that is buried deep within me. It's why I want to keep doing this channel, why I'm so excited for maybe a new franchise to come in maybe this summer. Maybe Adam Silver, please, especially if they win, please give us a team. We need this. Okay, don't do this to us. Don't make us watch Clay Bennett raise a trophy and then not give us an expansion announcement this year. Please don't do that to us. But I think for all those reasons, that's why OKC is the most hated team. Yes, the last one is pretty personal, but I think the other reasons are, if you bring them all together, I think that's why you see so much of it, even though they are so good, even though it looks like they're unbeatable. But let me know what you think down in the comment section. Do you agree with that if you're from OKC? Are you ever going to listen to anything else I say ever again? Let me know that down in the comment section. Hit the like button if you like this kind of content. Sub if you're new, and I will see you in the next one.